let me answer straight up. This party, we believe that for democracy to thrive in this country, there must be a very robust opposition, so that we don't have a one-party state, which will be detrimental to our own fundamental rights and to progress. Our party has always been welcoming. Our party remains very strong. We're the only party in this country that is in the 774 local government. We are welcoming to collaboration, but as we speak, if you call it merger, there's no merger talks with any political party. Individuals in the party could have conversation. You're talking about leaders of the different parties. They can do that. But at the party level, there's a process to achieving that. And that process, when it starts, we will brief the press, because it's not going to be in the darkness. Individuals are talking. I've just spoken to you today. I don't know whether we're going to form political parties together. So nobody can report that. I just spoke to Baba. We talked earlier before we came here that you're going to be talking to me. I don't know if it's because we want to form political party. It could be. But if people are talking, that cannot be elevated because there are process toward that. So there will be no conclusion to that. The fact that two people came to visit themselves or have a conversation, I don't think we can elevate that to the position. But as a party that is responsive to the people of Nigeria, we owe a duty to the Nigerian people, because it is called People's Democratic Party. We follow our process, we follow our rules, we have a constitution, we have a process, we have a procedure to follow through this kind of thing. Yes, sir. You just came late. Why am I taking your question? Go ahead, sir. Thank you, sir. Yes, sir. Number one, this party is founded on very good, solid foundation. It has a constitution. Embedded in that constitution is the fact that we have organs of the party. And like we just mentioned them for exactitude, we have the convention, we have the National Working Committee, we have the BOT, we have Governors Forum. What I can tell you is that supposedly those people were directed to the Governors Forum, as it were. All right? We believe, and I will say this, the Governors Forum remain one of the most potent organs of this party. We recognize and salute their courage and their contribution to the development of the party. We recognize their stabilizing role and reconciliatory moves for the party to be, because they recognize the fact that Nigerians continue to, and why are they interested in their party? Nigerians are, there's a connection between Nigerians and PDP, because it's called People's Democratic Party. It is not, it's not a party of joiners. People just came together for purposes of business. A special purpose vehicle. It was founded on values, on principle, on vision. And that's well stated in that. The Governors Forum is a body that has its own regulation, and they respond to issues like this as they come, particularly when it concerns them. I would expect, and I do know that the Governors Forums will speak to that. What we know is that anybody, and this is clear, that there's nobody is above this party, and you must take it home and take it to the bank. It might be slow. It's like justice, because the wheel of justice grinds slowly, but it grinds well, ultimately. What we know is that this party, because it is People's Democratic Party, and we have governors that are very, very committed to this party. There are governors that have shown commitment to the good of this party. What we know is that we trust our governors to do that which is needful to ensure that there's stability in their states. And the only way they can do that stability is by performance. And you can go over this country, compare the governors of PDP and other governors. They are clearly oases of development. You go to Akwa Ibom State, it's a reference. You go to Oyo State, it's a reference. You go to Bauchi State, it's a reference. Even in Walton, Zamfara, it's a reference. His commission is making actions and taking steps that can improve the life of people, even with the challenges. You go to Bayelsa, you go to River State. It's a silent performer there. Because we can't all be making noise. We can't all be shouting. This is a silent performer in Rivers. You go to Delta, next door. You go to Edo, we're talking about Edo. Here we are, today we have it. The only reason we're talking Edo is because the governor had done well. Created a platform for Asue Godalo to build upon, and that's why I say prosperity for all. So, the governors' forums, we continue to commend them for their effort, and we trust in their ability to stabilize this party going forward. And we know that they're stabilizing their state, because it's only when they stabilize their state that the state will truly be stable. And they are doing that because of the monumental achievement they have done. Compare PDP state and APC state, just compare them. Go to your state. Is it a Greek? Is it industrialization? Go to Akwa Ibom state. Go to Bayelsa. For the first time, he's having this Nembe bridge right on the sea. They couldn't do it. So I think the PDP governors are solid. The party commends them and will continue to commend them for their stabilizing role and reconciliatory move for the party. Thank you. The second leg is the fact that
the leadership has directed.
Yes. Okay. Again, it goes back to the same question. This party is a party that is so very well placed. We have a constitution. In those constitutions, there are bodies. Because we're guided by that, we hardly will get it wrong. We may not be as fast as anybody will expect, because and Nigerians, we must commend them. They are genuinely, and they must ask us to be quick in getting our acts together, because they know that this is the future of this country. They remember the 16 years with nostalgia of what PTB did, when we paid off our debts, when we could plan our lives, when life expectancy was high, when the stock market was the highest in Africa, when Nigeria was the first destination point for foreign investment, when life expectancy was improving, where education was stable, where largely insecurity was like a news. Today, compare that, where we could talk about the price of the naira against the dollar, where we can talk about the price of petrol, because we can plan. Now we can't plan. We're doing hop, step, and jump as a nation, where policies are meant for Nigerians, not Nigerians for policies, where the leadership of the party under President Obasanjo, Yar'Adua, and Jonathan, they were conscious about the feeling of the people, that when there's a policy that is against their interests, they try as much as possible to review it, because government exists for the people. That's why in section 14(2) it says the primary purpose of government is the welfare and security of the people. So, to that extent, what we are telling you is the fact that this party is bigger than individual. So, consistent with our constitution, with the NEC, the National Executive Committee, at the last meeting, directed the establishment of two bodies, reconciliation and unity committee. They have their term of reference. They have their tenure. We gave them term of reference. And we don't, as NWC, we interfere in that working. What we have given them term of reference. We know they are men of quality, of integrity, and in their wisdom, each of the committees can invite anybody who's a member of this party, anybody, to come to speak to them, one way or the other, and they can make a determination. Then they can make recommendation in their report to the NWC, which of course will be considered, and then will be forwarded to NEC for approval or amendment, as the case may be. So that's what it is, sir. So it is not for me to say who, because I'm not a member of that. And NWC does not give you a job and then begin to monitor you to do, because we trust you to do the right thing. But there are people, that are human beings, comprised of human beings, and the membership of a party is personal. However, you must subject yourself to the rules of that party. Okay? Now, because a political party is comprised of people with different background, different consideration, different interests, contestation of ideas, sometimes subdued, sometimes very aggressive. What makes a truly a political party, so to say, like in the case of People's Democratic Party, is the fact that, number one, you must allow for expression of views within the framework. 2, you must implement and enforce your rules as they come. 3, you must establish and put it that no one individual is bigger than the party. It is not, it is People's Democratic Party. What we have done is that we have followed our constitution to set up organs or bodies in line with the constitution. We give them mandate to do certain job. It will not be appropriate to preempt them in that assignment. And that's what we are suggesting we do at the NWC. We trust their judgment, we trust their capacity, we trust their intellect, we trust their patriotism, and their commitment to democracy in Nigeria, because only in PDP we will sustain this democracy. What is different between PDP and others is that PDP is truly democratic. We allow for ideas, for discussion. When you have discussion, the challenge is that you have different tunes. So you can have, you struggle, you try to do what? Ensure that you reconcile these differences and come to a common purpose for the interest of the party, interest of democracy, and interest of the country. And so that's what we're doing. So it won't be appropriate for us to begin to preempt a process that they just started. And we are hopeful that people will do a good job. I thank you very much, gentlemen, for coming. And ladies.